Okay, so here we go. I wanted to get this response to basically Steve Kaufman, vociferous manner of his hordes, his sycophantic hordes that he has. That basically I haven't seen as much trolling from not many people since the last time I saw a deep fishing expedition. Anyway, so oh, if you're wondering about the shirt, it's Cambodia. I live in the Orient, unlike most of the people responding who live in the United States, geo-locked. Trying to anyway. So number one, let's get to the linguistics definition. Something that seems to be a point of contention for the neophytes or the dilettantes, not for academics, not for universities, not for those who are actually real linguists. But linguistics, and I'm going to take this directly from a book on Introduction to Linguistics, which is written simply enough that even those people of yours, Steve, could probably get through it, okay? I'm going to show some other books that they won't be able to get through and won't be able to understand, but that's what real linguists do. Anyway, so linguistics is the discipline which studies the structure, function, and phenomena of language. Now that covers a great deal. In that, okay, now you people want to say, oh, because in the dictionary there's a term saying that linguist means many languages, speaks many languages, which look up the word in a very large dictionary about polyglot, many tongues, okay, from the Greek. Anyway, so that's etymology. Etymology is one little part of linguistics, and this is I'm going to clear it up right now for you people. Okay, linguists are generally people who know several languages. That would be part of their things. Now you're confusing the part for the whole. Okay, that's the same thing as saying I had some deep thinker who never passed a university logic course write to me. Definition of linguist is knowing many languages. Steve Kaufman knows many languages, therefore he is a linguist. Okay, let's follow that specious reasoning. Okay, medical doctor is someone who heals. I heal people with herbs, therefore I am a medical doctor. Follow the same faulty logic as you did. The part and the whole are not the same. This is something that's also that lexicographers have to, people who make dictionaries, his own field in linguistics, by the way, have to go back through and deal with, because they're confusing. Now, also, those people who want to say, I'm a linguist because I try to learn languages, because I've studied languages, and I might actually speak one or two languages. Okay, next time a university opens up any slot for a linguist, go apply for the job, see what happens. Go into any university and tell them you're a linguist. And they'll say, really, where? What did you do? What was your thesis? What did you do your dissertation on? What subfield are you in? Linguistics is a huge field. You don't even know probably that you're using it when you Google search. That's computational linguistics. It's very detailed, based off of the phrase structure rules that Chomsky devised, which is still being used, and in AI, artificial intelligence, which is cognitive linguistics, Lakoff. I'm mentioning all these names, which is what linguists do. Okay, we actually know things and done a lot. Now I'm going to pull out a bunch of books here. This is nothing. This is surface level reading. Reading just all this is surface level, because you have to spend a lot more time. Morphology and syntax. Okay. What happens in morphology? Bound, is it bound or unbound? Is it clitic or non-clitic? What's going on with the particles? Syntax, is it ergative, ablative? Is it SVO? Is it SOV? Is it topic? Is it topic centered? Is it subject generated? All those things. It's nothing. I don't have time to educate all of you people for free. So that. Now, a lot of you want to get into historical. Want to start saying historical linguistics. This is language origins. This is part of historical linguistics, which is broken into other fields. Historical linguistics usually tries to reconstruct the parent language of a group of languages, which was done in Indo-European a long time ago. Language death, which is occurring as we speak all around the globe. In the next 30 years, there will be 5 global languages. And that will be what people who do business and who have to actually get things done, a functional use, which is what language is. Language is communication for a function. It is not to play games with, and I've learned Icelandic. You can't speak Icelandic if you're not speaking with someone, if you can't tell them about, if you cannot discuss Sartre, Kierkegaard, Hume in this L2, you are not fluent. You need to define your terms. Steve seems to be confused on input. Input is anything to him. Input is this. That is not what Krashen was talking about. He was talking about you have to have a level of comprehensibility of what you're taking in. If you're only taking in 5%, it's not good enough. Of course, you're going to start at 0. Everybody knows that. Now, Steve wants to be text-based because he thinks he wants to do self-learning. Well, text is secondary to language. Languages are not written. That is iconic representation of the sound. Language is sound and meaning, which would take us to knowing about, number 1, articulatory phonetics, making those sounds. This is IPA. You see those IPA there? You need to know that to begin with. Let's see if I can find which one goes next. It would be, then that would take us to phonology. All right. What are the words? What are the underlying construction of the sounds? What's going on there? Which most of you don't even know that aspiration is distinctive in many languages other than English, for example. This is also another syntax, understanding syntax, which is very important. Now, those of you who are having problems with the understanding what linguist and linguistics mean in the real sense, of the discipline sense, this is the same thing. I'll use another analogy of a psychologist. Because I'm concerned with people's behavior, and I read about it, and I analyze people in my layman's way, then I am also a psychologist. No, you're not. You're someone who likes the idea. You're aficionado, okay? You're not a psychologist. The same, someone was trying to say, your analogy with doctors and lawyers and pilots because they have certification. So do real linguists. Try to present a paper, which none of you can do. And then you want to decry that because you don't have those skills. That because you don't have those skills doesn't change anything. You're not a linguist. Now, society and what happens. For example, here, this is one of the million examples of the prestige language, diglossia. Look those up, okay? I'm not going to educate you on that. This goes into what are the sort of historical understanding, let's say, like Saussure and linguistics, Chomsky, and when he introduced transformational cognitive, the Lakoff school, and on and on and on. Now I notice you need to know this. This is what Steve needs to read this to begin with. Here's Old English, which is called Gothic quite a bit. You're not going to understand the language. It's a dead language, but understanding it gives you a lot of insight into what has happened to English at the time. Now, as you move on, you're going to know more. These books are thick, jam-packed, and these are just part of the things you have to know. What's this one? This is for just the Romance languages, which is very interesting of how Latin changed in the different French, Romanian, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, Provincial, Catalan, Gallego, several other languages in that area. Now I noticed that. When Steve was trying to talk about some stuff, he was trying to talk about the text level, which would be up here. This is about discourse analysis, also known as text analysis. This is huge. It's a linguist linguistics is used in other fields too, to understand that. That's used in forensic linguistics, a lot of things. Anyway, he would probably, this is the main guy in functional grammar, which would be something he should read, is Holiday. An incredible genius, influenced a lot of people. This is what the European translators and interpreters use this quite a bit. Which takes us to this, when yeah, it was very funny to listen to Steve try to talk about internalization of text. Yeah, well, that's nothing new there, buddy. Translators have been using that for a long time. I'm around. Applied linguistics, by the way, is a lot of fields. It can be applied as in translation, interpretation, applied in teaching, applied in language learning, applied computational to Google, to computers, applied to I'm going to say artificial intelligence, applied to behavioral learning, a whole lot of things. This is not a small field, but. And language learning has about zero to do with the entire field of linguistics. Now, because you want to say you're a language learner, you want to say you're a linguist, it's not the same thing. Get the separations clear. If you want to call yourself a language wannabe learner, or if you're aficionado, a dilettante to the field, that's great. But when you're calling yourself a linguist, you're trying to pass yourself off as something you are not. Now, go to any university and take your definition that you guys have been bandying about and try to get into the field and see what they do. You'll be laughed out of. And why don't you see more people talking about the actual academic reality of linguistics? Because they're busy doing the stuff in the field. I happen to be on break right now. I'm not out documenting tribal languages. I'm not doing an interpretation, translation going on. All this, among other things. I'm not doing a social linguistics research. I'm not, which is what I've been doing. I haven't been, I'm not doing that. I'm working with code mixing, for example. All these things are parts of the field. Now, if people, well, what is this? What is that? I've been published. I've done things in other fields too. This is not the only thing. I know that Steve's trying to sell a product, his product of self-learning with a text-based thing. This is not. All studies are going to show that you learn faster from interaction. That's what languages are done. You didn't learn a language by studying your L1. It never happened. You learned it, then you studied it later to cure some mistakes and raise your ability. Yes, reading later can raise your ability, but that's how no one learned any language. No one acquired a language through that method. Starting with that is kind of starting backwards, isn't it? Now, I'm going to defend Benny here, because Benny is not saying he's trying to become, mastering the language. So what is your definition of mastering? And every academic debate, which can't be happening here because it seems like all you guys are just trolling, you have to define terms. You want to go with FSI or DLI? I, by the way, went to DLI. How many of you people out there espousing your sycophantic revelry have gone to FSI or DLI? I didn't think so. Okay, so you have to define terms. So defining these terms, you're going to have to define what you consider fluent. You're going to have to define terms of what input means. You have to define your term for linguists, which I'm doing right here. And what my definition is what every university, every academic field is going to tell. Now, you people who are not academic, who are jokes to the real linguists, you can have your definition. It's not going to change anything. You're a bunch of people spouting your minds off on the wide T, Woo! Wow, you're really going to influence things. You're really going to make some books. You're really going to write some papers, aren't you? Well, that's enough for now. And if it's got you thinking, and if you start reading real linguistics research and start doing some real linguistics studying, then you can become a linguist. But tossing around and babbling around and trying to figure out with a hackneyed version of, I've noticed that there's some sort of thing like an article, blah, blah, Those hackneyed versions of language learning do not make you a linguist.